I would say I was very anti-LIV,
Mm-hmm.
and I got an offer, and they put the money in front of me, and you're crazy to not look at it at that point.
Right.
I think it kind of coexisting, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they're ever going to get together. I don't know if it would make any sense for the PGA Tour is in a strong position. They don't really have to do anything for LIV.
I try. I want to. I just can't. The product is so bad.
I think there's really good players playing on LIV, but it just doesn't, like you said, it's like entertainment. It doesn't seem like serious golf when I flipped it on, and that's where I struggle.
And I think a lot of those guys chose legacy and purpose over money.
Yep.
And at that time, given what they knew, what the tour told them, which was all true at the time, given all of the information that's out there, that was their decision.
Welcome back to the Straight Down the Middle-ish podcast. My name is Travis Albritton. I'm the producer of the show. The guys are out this week, so we wanted to put together a special mashup episode with all things LIV. It's certainly been a topic of conversation recently, and so we just took some of the best bits and sound bites and conversations from our previous guests and episodes here on the podcast. So we hope you enjoy this special bonus episode. Here we go.
So are you glad you didn't go to LIV?
Well, I think it all worked out pretty well with all the money we've got.
Did it ever get real serious for you? Like where you were like, man,
I would say I was very anti-LIV,
Mm-hmm.
and I got an offer, and they put the money in front of me, and you're crazy to not look at it at that point.
Right.
I mean, my whole deal was I would almost feel guilty if you didn't take the money at that point and you went out and got the driver yips or fall down the stairs or whatever happens,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't make any money playing golf again. You almost feel guilty that you didn't take it for your wife and kids, future kids, or whatever it might be. That you got to look at it pretty seriously and try and look at it from all angles and make the right decision.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, guaranteed paycheck. Golf does not guarantee a paycheck.
Yeah.
Here's my problem with that. I got no problem with the argument, but they're saying that guaranteed money. Find me one CEO in the Fortune 500 that doesn't have a guaranteed, just goes, oh, you know what, I'll work for free, but just give me a percentage of stock or whatever. No, they're all on guaranteed money. So there's been a few things. I'm not on either side. I got friends on both, obviously. But some of the arguments that they have used in this debate is idiotic.
Yeah.
Just purely idiotic.
Intellectually dishonest.
Yeah, it's like guaranteed money. Like, where else in the world doesn't it happen?
Yeah.
What about the NFL guys?
It's
Pretty sure they get
people in mental
70% of their contracts guaranteed, the big guys. So I don't know.
Well, the goalposts keep moving, and the response from the tour continues to look a lot like what the other tour is doing. So
Yeah.
it's hard not to take the stance that, God, it sounds a little hypocritical.
Coming full circle back to our original talk on the change to the tour, that's the thing I hate the most. In what business would you ever operate it for 40 years and you get a competitor to come along and you change your whole model to match theirs?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, I think, is a certain guy that works for the tour had this manuscript years ago, sort of saw in another sport where there was a breakaway and sort of said, hey, I think your audience is getting older and older. Younger people can't hold attention spans. You need to stay, more elite fields. And then the non-elite fields, you need to go to like team stuff where, say, Matt, Tom, and Harry English play on a team in the same group together. Individual event, but have like crazy stuff. He's like, I think the audience will come and watch crazy shit. Change it up. But they were like, oh, you're not a team player. You're not a team player. And then literally the thing he wrote almost to the T is what's happening now. Obviously, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. It wasn't even LIV. It was the other league, the PGL or whatever. It just started floating stuff. Not so much a whole franchise model, but definitely you need to move with the times. And now they are. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So have you covered LIV since the start?
Not like since the very start. Like I didn't go to Centurion outside London. I didn't do Bedminster or anything like that. The first event I covered was Boston. So bunch of debutants like Cam, Leash, Anna Van Lahiri, etc. And that was probably a good one for me to cover first up because that was one of their best that they've held so far. It was really organic, pure competition. The playoff was awesome. And the fans, like outside Boston, it was awesome. Like,
So what's the heartbeat like out there right now compared to where you saw it in Boston to Orlando
last
Yeah,
this
year
week.
2. How's year 2 looking?
It's kind of like it's matured a little bit. Like it doesn't have that oomph and that buzz about like, oh, this is the Rebel League that's just like in its first season. It's kind of mellowed and matured a little bit into being more of a golf tour, more of a golf league.
But not as loud anymore.
I'm not going to say that, but it's not making as much noise is what I would say, because it's impossible. That was the disruptor season. That was when they were signing players from the PGA Tour, and now they're signing less of those players and sort of going off and trying to create their own tour as opposed to getting one off the ground.
How's the press room change? Because they came out, it was kind of goofy, asking lots of silly questions, showing off personality, but what does that core look like?
It doesn't look like the PGA Tour core media pack, that's for sure, and that's how they want it. They want influencers, they want comedians, they want some serious journalists there too, asking the real questions, and that was something that they had to navigate in the first season. It's like, what do we want to be?
Yeah.
Do we want to be a real press conference and look like a real tour, or do we want to have the comedians making jokes in and amongst the serious questions? And I think the answer was yes. We want to be that. I say we, but I mean they. Like they want to be different. They don't want it to look like a PGA Tour event or a PGA Tour press conference.
There's a lot of people that want to see this tour fail, but you also forget there's a lot of people that want to see this tour succeed.
And it'll take care of itself.
Where do you see this thing in year 5?
I think it kind of coexisting, I would say.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if they're ever going to get together. I don't know if it would make any sense for the PGA Tour is in a strong position. They don't really have to do anything for LIV.
Yeah.
But I would say eventually they may coexist in windows, because like some of those stars, they're massive stars, and like I don't know why you wouldn't want them on your tour. Cam Smith, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka.
We talked about it the other day. I mean, those guys, the match play and the players, it was very noticeable.
Yeah.
But not huge
there.
noticeable, but
yes, it was.
It's something,
especially
it's
in
like
the back half.
20% of your pro. It's still enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
The tour lost a lot of its villains too. I mean, those are the storylines.
They lost every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't one villain on the tour.
And there's value in villains too, as you know, like the Patrick Reed or the Shambo. Like there's values in, where it's made up controversy. It's bringing eyes to the sport and selling sponsorships and all that stuff. So yeah, now there's like no villain at all on the PGA Tour.
I would say
some guy that says shit on air,
right?
Like Tyrrell Hatton is the villain. Like the guy's like the nicest dude.
He's so lovable too.
Yeah, I know. He's like a legend.
It's like no.
Throw your club. I love it.
And I'd say for a long time that's what golf lacked. It like that's what separated tennis from golf, was that tennis had like massive villains, quote unquote. Nick Kyrgios, Tsitsipas, all these guys like that like you.
But the tour doesn't want it.
Yeah,
you
which
makes so they give you these fines. And
I'm not saying I was ever close to a villain, but
Yeah.
If you just rewind, let's just go 8 years ago or 9 years ago, I was probably on the path of maybe being one.
Villain status?
Yeah. And I would get one. I'll never forget this. This pisses me off about the tour. There's only so many opportunities you get to play with yourself out there. Okay, so you got to play shitty on Saturday, and there has to be an odd number of people that make the cut to go by yourself on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm a fast player. I get that on Sunday at Greenbrier, which is a great course to break the pace record.
It's like Hilton Head. Tees are close to the greens.
Yeah, and it's
no
flat. It's just easy. So, and I got nothing to play for. 66 it's not going to do much for me on Sunday that far back.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to go. I get out to the first tee, and I have an official come out there and tell me that if I do anything stupid today, I will be fined for conduct unbecoming. Okay? Like running. Hold on, timeout. I swear to God, 2 years later, Wesley Bryan is fucking sprinting around the golf course.
Yeah.
And they're parading it on PGAtour.com and promoting this story and that kind of stuff. That pisses me off about the tour.
They're silly. They should. And I feel like there's a couple of guys inside that realize that, but I think the tour is so out of touch, even with some of the tactics they're using in the last couple of years. They are so out of touch of what the actual consumer wants. Mm-hmm. And I remember John Peterson in the last round of Malaysia ran up and Happy Gilmore it. It was so good.
So good.
More of that, please.
But I think he got fined. He hit it in the water, right?
Definitely got fined. He shot 66
he shot
that day.
He shot 67, I think. He shot 5 or 6 under. It's not like he's not trying. What is wrong with doing that? I bet you that brought more eyeballs to that I bet you that brought 20% of the whole eyeballs to,
Right,
to the
but it's also
CIMB.
probably the wrong person doing it. No, and to Matt's
No, it's
point,
not.
you
He's
have
got his
Wesley
own-
Bryan doing what Matt wanted to do, and he gets away with it. Like
You don't want
certain
Wesley Bryan
rules.
doing that. I like Wesley Bryan, but you want someone who's funny and who's a bit, willing to go out on a limb, like a John Peterson or a Matt Everett.
It was kind of like Keith Mitchell at the Players, wasn't it? Like I think he hit his drive in the water hazard right before they.
blew the horn.
If somebody else did that, like
Yeah.
Keith,
It was so
pounded
funny though.
drive.
I
because-
loved
But the
it.
tour took it off. It's great.
Yeah,
He smashed the club, and doesn't look good. But look, there's a part of golf that you want those people looking at it.
LIV they have taken pretty much every villain from the tour, but they've also they're helping the tour a little bit too, maybe giving them ideas and stuff like that. I mean, the tour is kind of
bland right now.
well, yeah, but they've also kind of stolen what LIV wanted to do a little bit.
It definitely looks a lot alike, doesn't it?
Yes.
But I would say that like LIV can't sit there and say, oh, they copied us, because no cut events with huge purses and exclusive fields, they existed well before LIV.
Yeah, the WGC is like and the whole. That's what I don't get, the tour and LIV like going against each other. Wait a minute, they're like, shut the fuck up. Just put your product out there, promote it, and the consumer will decide.
That's a big thing that I keep coming back to is let the market decide. I was talking to
They
a
will.
top player about that, and it's like, look, we could have a top player on the PGA Tour said to me, like, we could have just backed ourselves and said, go play wherever you want. Good luck to you. Come back as long as you play 15 events a year, and then let the market decide what happens. Now that's a risky move. That's a long-term play. I can understand why the tour wouldn't want to do that long-term play or take a crack at that, because like they're in a strong position and they don't have to take risks. They are the established tour. They've got all the sponsors, all the corporate structure in place, and I don't think they necessarily need to invite LIV into the fold. But like I said before, I can see them coexisting years down the track. Once the dust settled, like any kind of change is disruptive and violent, but like in the end, they will find their own corners of the golf world.
You mentioned sponsors. That's going to be a topic here as you start to see guys like DJ showing up and FootJoys and guys starting to play different, drivers if they want. What are you hearing out there from a support side that are the OEMs investing in these LIV players, or they're having to go buy stuff off the rack?
They're like in between those two things.
Yeah.
So they're not like buying stuff. They're not having to go to Dick's Sporting
Some
Goods.
No,
companies
they're giving
are,
them
some
stuff,
aren't.
but they've throttled back big time.
Yeah.
Like I know for a fact, some of these big guys out there who've had these, ball deals with certain companies.
Yeah, certain companies
they're
are
still getting balls, but there's no value in
not yet.
not yet.
But
in-
there'll be
know
a
if-
metric to at some point. Like the club companies aren't silly either. Once there's a following or something, they'll jump back on. But that's why we're going to try and get Chris Tootin on here. It'd be great to ask those
Yeah,
questions.
pin them down.
I don't
He
know
ain't
if you've
gonna-
heard the same thing, but to me it seems like, to answer your question, the OEMs have not made their minds up yet. Like, do we want to throw support behind it?
Right.
And who is going to be the first to jump? It's kind of like, it's very interesting to watch.
Because they got to sell. Look, at the end of the day, they sell a lot of clubs in South America, and you would have to think the South American market now is watching as much LIV as Tour. So if they want to sell a tailor-made driver, they're going to have to sponsor some of these kids. But that's why I really want to talk to Tootie. It is so interesting from their perspective. How do you navigate it?
I
It's
think they're
uncharted-
doing what Evan said. They're sitting back and
Uncharted
they're giving
territory.
them their stuff. But when the agents call and say, "Hey, we need to re-up this deal," and they're like, "Well,
No, we don't.
not really on TV anymore," and yeah, we don't really need to re-up this deal.
Yeah.
And you're seeing it too, like they're sponsoring Good and Bob Does Sports now, and instead of some guy in the
And
On the
like
LIV.
influencers, I mean, people were kicking up a huge stink a couple of months ago because like TaylorMade or one of the others was like had started sponsoring two Instagram influencers, guys that basically wear joggers and hit stingers, and it's like, if you can do those two things, you can get a deal.
yeah. If your
So-
swing, if you have a
But
pretty swing,
It's
Yeah,
it's
you're
not a
good to
hard
go.
metric to follow. If they have Instagram 200, 300,000 that are liking all their shit and seeing the advertisement, why wouldn't you?
No, I get
It's
it.
a very basic.
More
metric, I
eyeballs
think.
on Instagram than a Saturday at the
I think more than anything,
Travelers.
Personally, I don't like it because I just hate the direction the world's going in. If that's what we're doing, I mean,
That's a different topic.
you haven't accomplished
So
anything.
if you were still playing, like if you were playing full time on the PGA Tour, What would you be doing? Do you reckon you would have gone to LIV?
I would have entertained an offer for sure. I think everyone probably entertained an offer. I don't know anyone that was like, you know what,
Yeah.
fuck you, I don't want to hear it.
Couple of guys,
Yeah.
but not many.
Well, like that's your job, right? Your job is to make money playing golf.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you're going to listen to anyone who's going to try and help you do your
Like
job.
a Brennan Steele that just went.
Evan,
I can't blame him.
to your point, when
Yeah,
you're saying
no.
about just the people on social media makers, and it's like, oh, guaranteed money, you took the guaranteed money. Find me one CEO of a Fortune 500 company that doesn't take guaranteed money. It's like, oh, I'll just take profit sharing. You don't have to pay me a salary, because the tour doesn't. Now they do. But that's another talking point that was rubbish. The blood money, rubbish. All through your 401k and retirement plans, there's blood money. I just wish that never got used, because it's like American politics, using these taglines which don't exist that have fooled the consumer to stay on for longer, than you sell more advertisements. It's so grubby.
I noticed that when I cover LIV events and tweet a link to my article, the amount of engagement you get is so much higher than any PGA Tour event, but negative. Like, people want to shit on your stories. They want to say, why are you covering this blood money tour, or why are you doing this, or and it's just kind of like, you can't really explain to morons out there on Twitter that, like, I follow golf news, I don't really care where it is.
And you would work more on the PGA Tour than you would on LIV, but people don't even like take that into account. They go, you're a LIV shill, and it's like, no, I work for Golf Digest, I cover golf. If there was a story about this huge ant population that took over Congressional, I would go and cover it. Like
100% I would.
It's
I'm
fucking
in for that
it's
story.
not hard.
How did he get there?
Been watching any of the LIV, all that stuff?
I try. I like want to. I just can't. The product is so bad.
I think it's Thursday, Friday. I really enjoy it. The only thing I would say is on the Sunday is the shotgun start is too hectic. The tradition of someone winning, that needs to be restored a bit. So even if you do a U draw, like they did at the Masters, basically as a weather, if you have a U draw where there's 10 groups and 10 groups, and then, I don't know, say Leishman's leading and Matt Jones is 4 groups ahead, shoot 65, he can go back and like be under the ropes. But the whole finishing everywhere, I think, is great, because there's no one being crowned on a Friday or Saturday. But Sunday, that's hard for me to feel.
Obviously, it would have been a discussion with my family.
Sure.
But I wouldn't.
But there's
I
definitely a
can't-
discussion.
Like, for anyone to say that, oh, I would never do that,
Yeah.
they're not being offered that either. So
No.
it's-
But I have been to a couple. Went to Orlando last
really?
week. They're fun. Like the music thing, I caddied in Saudi Arabia last year for Matt when his caddy had an eye issue. And the first 10 minutes I was there with the music on, I was like, this is a bit weird. But I'm telling you, it's really good.
Is it
on
throughout
Do
the
you know
course?
Yeah, now it's on the tee. So my kids who are nuts, rolling around, being silly, when they're on the tees, they don't have to be perfectly silent, because the music's there.
So
we went
every
watched-
tee box.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, at Orlando, the 4 or 5 tee boxes I went to, they had them, and I was like, this is good. So it's a different vibe, but I think they're not trying to be the tour. They're trying to be
Yeah.
different.
The thing
it's like
that
a
I
horse
don't
race.
like,
You
though,
been to
is-
the horse races? It's like a horse
Yeah.
race, mate.
I don't like how the Golf Channel, it's like CNN and Fox News. All they do is bash LIV, and you watch a LIV broadcast, and they're just like talking about how bullshit the world ranking system, how their guys are all getting
We've spoken about
screwed.
this. It's a joke. Just let your product.
Right. Yeah,
Free
that's-
market
that's the
capitalism
worst.
will take care of it. Stick to how good your product is, and then go.
But Graham, CNN's pretty bad, dude.
I agree.
Well, CNN pisses on your back and tells you it's rain. Fox just pisses on your back. I feel like morally, there's a little different. We'll have to edit that out.
Pricey sent you sent a video of just the LIV speaker at the tournament, just playing its music, just all by itself. And
No, that
there's
was
nobody
that
around.
was an
18th.
Oasis song. That's why you sent it.
Yeah, it was 18th fairway, but yeah.
But it was like, wow, there's the speaker,
And
the
his
legendary
kids
speaker
are like
talking
beating each
about-
other up over in the corner. And nobody even knows.
And granted, we all have our own. Like, there's 5 of us. There's like 9 of us, and we all have our own opinions on it. I'm probably the most, wouldn't say pro LIV, but like
open.
I definitely open and I think there's good elements to
So
it.
it's a conundrum. I think you guys shouldn't be too worried about LIV. It'll take its own course, but also that's your content, so you have to have an opinion. I think it's different from the tour, and I'm not like on either side. my own take is obviously we have friends on either side, and
Yeah.
those guys, it's different. It's more entertainment. It's it's like a horse race. It's like a Formula One race, and that's what they're going for. And I would say if people haven't been to one, go to one physically, be on the grounds. It's a good vibe with them. I think I caddied in Saudi Arabia last year, and when I was first there, put the bag down on the putting green, I was like, this music is fucking weird. And then by like the end of it, I was like, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it takes you long. And I think someone, it wasn't Alex Maselli, someone wrote an article, they went to the Orlando one, said similar thing. So don't knock it till you try it, but maybe don't knock it till you try it.
So what can they?
I don't think you guys have whatever. Takes
Cover
you
it.
on.
Are y'all going to go travel and catch?
I'm
a
gonna
live
try to get
event?
to one this year. Yeah.
Where are you
Valderrama
thinking?
would
Where are
be
you
great.
thinking?
I'm thinking probably
Jersey?
probably the Bedminster one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Of
go.
course, it's tough.
What are the dates? Let's plan a trip.
I think
Pitch
it's,
it to Trump. He'll take care of the trip.
Straight down the middle is the podcast of the Live Tour.
It's. I mean, pricey. I hear all that, but then that makes me, because like Cam's my favorite play. Like
Same.
Spencer Levine,
Ah,
Cam,
you like good golf.
Lee. Like I
Yeah.
obviously love Leash. DJ is one of my favorite players of all time. Like I think there's really good players playing on Live, but it just doesn't, like you said, it's like entertainment. It doesn't seem like serious golf when I flipped it on, and that's where I struggle.
I think that doesn't happen all at once. It's a new product. I think it does gain strength, that aspect of it, and I think I think they're trying. Well, there's probably a few guys that aren't, but there's a few guys that don't try hard on tour either.
Totally.
If they're 3 over through 9,
But
then
there's
they're out there.
140 guys in
Sure.
the fields, whereas there's
48.
48, and they're handpicked, and 20
No
of them
cut.
are like ceremonial,
Right.
golfers out there. Whereas I think too, like I have a really hard time taking Greg Norman seriously. I think he's a fucking buffoon, like straight up. And I think that message is kind of like seeped through to him of like he's not out front anymore.
No, he knows that.
And they've said like, all right, cool, like we want to like bring the heat down. We probably need to get Greg.
Yeah.
Out of the way.
Look,
Out of the
they're a new
equation.
entity. They've got a lot to navigate. I don't think anyone is in denial of that, and they got to continue to navigate.
They're
stuff
they're
you
not
do
even a
as
year
a-
old. They're not. Their
Yeah,
first
like I said,
event
the
was
tour
June last
is
year.
the tour is like a machine because
Uh-huh.
they've been around 70 years. Like
Yeah.
they're well oiled. So
I would say they're oiled. I wouldn't say they're well oiled.
okay,
You know,
they're
I
oiled.
The tour, like
But from
I
an
have
event,
we could do a whole podcast on all the shit that I hate about the tour. So
But
I fall in the same boat as you though with not being able to take the competition seriously. Like before Augusta, when Brooks won Orange County National, I put zero value into that.
like that's a dog
Thanks.
shit golf course.
But then,
Like Tulsa, the one in
to-
Tulsa was
but
so bad.
But he shows up
Orange
the
County
next week
National.
and plays well. It's just gonna, over time. I think time
Don't you think
will
it did-
fix everything with this.
Yeah, same. And do you think it's elevated them? I think it's elevated the majors.
That's the big thing. It's like the majors are,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the other thing that could elevate the majors is if the USGA follows through on this model local rule, and the tour doesn't accept that.
Yeah.
If they're playing a different ball just in the 4 majors, or really 3 majors, even let's say the PGA of America doesn't
Yeah.
do that either. That's just 3 majors. That then differentiates those that much more.
Well, you
and
think
the
they
tour-
do that?
I think they would. I don't think there's
That
any
would-
way the tour is going to accept the model local rule.
That would fire some players up if they did that.
But like, it would be fascinating. It
Well,
would be chaos.
for the media side. It would be, but it'd be
I'm
chaos
for
everywhere.
like trial periods. I think they
Be chaos for
whatever they do. Let's go. Hey, we're going into like a 2-year trial. If the tour doesn't accept it, hey, we're gonna have a special ball. Don't be like, this is what we're doing. Just be like, let's trial. Like new speed limits going from 70 to 80 or something. Let's trial it for a year. So we'll see. But we'll see if the USGA does with all that data that we've seen. It's going to be interesting.
if Liv pivots on their format and moves to a 72-hole event, and it has Monday qualifiers, like they need to be able to start on 1 and finish on 18. Make this thing a little bit more easier to
Yeah.
consume.
Sunday they should do a U draw, like a small U draw. So
Yeah.
at least everyone's finishing. And if Leishman plays 5 groups, in front of Matt Jones and shoots 65, he can go back. I think they may be missing that element. That's maybe like different from the product they're trying to do. But I think like just a U draw on Sunday.
I don't even have as much of an issue with the 54 hole thing. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't have an issue.
I don't either.
It's just a matter of like, like, all right, what's the point here? Like, why are we doing
It's
this?
the same guys every week, 24.
But that's
the things that don't line up for you with LIV. I fall right in line with you on them. The same exact thing for me.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't. I know 20 of those guys out there. I'm not. They're great players, but they're not 40. I don't want to hear that there's 48 guys out there. It's just like there's not 144.
It's like when I'm watching the Mayakoba one and watching Charles Howell III and Peter Uihlein, duke it out, and Charles Howell III wins by 6 or 7 or 8 shots, and I'm like, you can't tell me that like this is a deep field. And like I love CH3, he's a legend, but like that's not, and then
a champagne bath afterwards.
yeah, it's just like it's outrageous.
Way to go, man.
right? And I think like there's
It
certain
is fun for the players, though. Like,
I bet they're having a blast.
like-
you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Well, business is not always fair, right? And this was a
Never.
decision for these guys. It was their individual businesses, and the tour didn't say you couldn't go. They said if you go, you can't come back. So they had the right to go, and they were free to go. And I think a lot of those guys chose legacy and purpose over money.
Yep.
And at that time, given what they knew, what the tour told them, which was all true at the time, given all the information that's out there, that was their decision. So I'm sorry, guys. Like, if two companies are founded and one does really well and one doesn't do as well, the smarter guy may have a worse company, but he's smarter. Well, does he get equal amount of money? No, I'm
Right.
sorry. Life's not always fair.
Love it.
Most astonishing was the speed. I mean, it's been 1 year. I mean, how? And they've had a couple of wins in court. The tour has.
And the legal fees blew me away.
Oh
dude.
my gosh,
15
we're in the wrong
million.
business.
You said 15 million?
50.
50, yeah.
Well, projected. I don't know, over like X amount. I don't know if they've already written that, but either way, it's an astonishing amount.
Good lawyers are worth that. But so, what do y'all think? Is
there
crystal ball? What's to come of LIV? There's talk of at the end of the year we'll take a look at it, and thinking with Monahan in control, he's going to squash it. I kind of doubt that. I don't think that LIV is dead. I think that the team concept is something that the money that's coming into the tour wants to see push forward and succeed.
I think LIV's dead.
I have an idea in my mind, but that's just my own thing. It would be cricket, which is not that big over here. I think cricketers make 70% of their money in 6 weeks in the IPL, the Indian Premier League cricket. It's mad. There's 200,000 people watching, but it's just a short season. So I don't know if it would work. And the guys do want off seasons, but maybe the tour runs from January to August. Then the rest is the LIV event. It goes for 8-10 weeks, 2 or 3 in America, around the world. Everyone's flying on the same plane, so the traveling would be as easy as possible. It'd be like a traveling circus. They're going to get paid tons of money. They're going to entertain all the way around the world. The whole planet is going to get to see them play. That's how I would hope it works, but I don't know.
Okay, what about this?
What the objectives
What about
are.
this? Does Cam own his team?
I don't know. Well, I think he's 25% owner.
Okay,
Yes.
he's 25% owner. When he was 25% owner and it was just LIV, let's be real. At the way LIV was going, that team was worth zero.
Worth zero.
Okay? It's
Yeah.
worth zero. Now that the tour is acquired, or they're partnering up, okay,
Yep.
that team is worth a lot more money, isn't it?
Correct.
But the potential, yeah.
So what do you
Still
do?
worth
So what?
saying,
So
but
what happens
yeah.
there? What
I
happens
think
there?
I think LIV and team golf are two different things. So I think the brand LIV, in my opinion, will probably go away because there's no real equity in the
agree.
brand. I think
That
team
makes
golf
sense.
and the concept is valuable because there's a different competitive component that fans are going to want to watch. Now, are the guys going to want to play a full season and then during their off season go travel, around the world for 10 weeks? Probably not. But is there a way you could do it where,
You have subs or something.
yeah,
10
to
six.
me, it's more like the golf product needs to evolve. I mean, think about golf tournaments. They're 4 days. They've been the same for 100 years, right? And it's hard for the modern consumer to watch 4 days of any event or competition. They want to watch 2 hours or 3 hours like an NBA game.
Yeah.
So to me, this opens the door to incorporate team formats or different formats that make golf shorter or more interesting, like the new Monday night tomorrow golf thing, which is a
Yeah.
whole different ball of wax. But I think LIV is going to go away. Team golf is going to be bigger and more important going forward.
I'm
You
wi- I'm-
brought up
I'm
the
with you on
TGL.
that.
Like, I'm glad you did. What's to come of TGL? I mean,
Is it TGL or Tomorrow Golf, or is it both?
Tomorrow Golf League. Is that
Yeah,
what it stands for?
Yeah, that's it.
It's
Tomorrow
like
Golf
a
League.
simulator league with players. Like,
I haven't heard anything about. I mean, I
Well,
heard
Tiger hasn't
everyone
said
signing
a
on to
thing
it,
yet.
but it's kind of been.
It's moving.
is?
Behind the scenes, there's deals being done. There's they're building the teams, they're building the format. I mean, they're building a location in Palm Beach, I think, a venue.
Getting back to the LIV thing real quick with the team aspect in golf. I have talked to quite a few players, and I know Aaron has too, on the LIV, and they are all in on the team stuff. Like Harold Varner.
Because it's fun.
Harold
That's why.
Varner told me it was the best part out there was the team aspect.
And that's what Cam is like. I feel like been a little agitated lately because they're not playing to their ability as a team, and it's more fun if you're finishing third, second, first than in the bottom six. So
Need more 6 a.m. workouts with Brooksy.
That's so funny. But it goes back to the point I made, in previous episodes. If you ask a golfer like why they're so excited to play in the Ryder Cup, Presidents Cup, because it's fun. Like a lot of times you're on your own out there, and we've all played individual sport, for years. It's not. But if you got someone next to you and you're on a team, there's something calming about it. It's a different set of nerves. And obviously when you pull it off and you win, it's fun to celebrate with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 others, rather than you have your own team and your trainer and all that. But it's not the same.
Who do you think the biggest losers will be coming out of this?
The low-level LIV guys.
Yeah,
I think.
same.
Yeah, they're going to struggle.
Yeah,
Ogletree and maybe Jed and.
I mean, the top 12, 20 LIV guys will be fine. We
Yeah,
don't know
just
what
off their names alone. They already had tour status, so they've past champions. They can come back. But if you came out of like Andy Ogletree or Chase Koepka, what's Chase Koepka going to do now?
What was he doing before?
Oh no, he had a good run. Exactly. I feel like a guy like that won't be mad at all. Like, hey,
they got
we
money,
knew it, but
I mean,
that's the thing too. I think Monahan and that are going to do it very right. Like, do they come back, and what's the penalty, and does this guy get some money for staying?
You got to create a path back for these guys. Whether you punish them by making them, earn their card back, or you're wise about it. And
Community
you say,
service.
These guys are.
I don't know, but they'll work it out, and that's where I think the membership will get a say. Will they get to dictate? No, but they'll have a voice, and I think it's all going to be fine.
Do you guys think players will get equity in this new for-profit company?
if they do, I hope it's like only 5 guys.
Top, yeah.
How do you pick the 5?
Yeah, no, that's impossible. And how much equity? And
is it merit-based, performance-based?
How do you quantify this? Correct.
Right. I've heard 50 different
you could do it
ideas.
like
Maybe
on
10
PO
guys.
You can find ways to get it to them.
What's the best idea you've heard?
like 10% of profits distributed.
You haven't
or
heard one
whatever.
yet?
I haven't heard any good ideas. I think what you could do, I shouldn't say this out loud, but you could issue a little bit of shares every year based on performance. You could rank it, based like FedEx Cup, and then, based on every year, there's new shares issued. So it's not like you get a big lump sum your first year because you're Rory, but it could be, hey, you're Rory, so here's like some kind of PIP plus performance ranking. Here's your shares, and the next year we'll re-rank everybody based on, because it's got to be based on media and kind of brand equity of the player plus performance on the course.
Kind of an earn out, like a way to
Like an earn out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to find a way to get like the Rorys, the guys that stuck their neck out.
Do you think Jay? Okay, I'm gonna play Jay for a second. Is it Yasir?
Yasser.
Yasser.
Yeah, Yasser. Okay, Jay's in meeting with Yasser. All right, look, I get it. We can do this, but man, I need you to do me a solid. Whatever you offered those guys, like, can you just wire it to them separately, and then we'll do this deal. I mean,
And when they pay taxes, nobody will know about
no,
it.
nobody
Yeah.
does. Yeah, that's right.
There's a lot of tax. This not to get too in the weeds here, but there's a lot of complexity behind how the money gets distributed. Someone told me the other day, the tour, like the Saudis will give $1 billion check to the tour, which will get like issued to the top 20 players. And I'm thinking, well, if you're number 21, that's kind of a bad deal, So
Right.
that doesn't make sense to me. But I'm sure there's gonna be a room with a whiteboard and 30 ideas and weeks of analysis, and
Not everyone
be
will
told what
win,
it
but
is.
they'll come out with the best solution possible. I'm pretty confident in that.
Just like
Very confident.
this deal. That's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder how much we'll learn about what went into it and why this was the decision and the plan. And we'll hear the plan, but if it's a for-profit company, it's private.
Yeah.
They don't have to tell us everything. So we'll just have to kind of keep guessing to an extent.
But again, the POF is going to put a bunch of money and it's going to go to the golfers on the tour. Shut up. Stop complaining. Like, yes, you may have given up a deal to go to LIV, but you gave up. Like, it's your choice.
Right.
Like, choices have consequences, and I'm not on either side. I think I've never have been. But it's the screaming kid. Are we going to just keep rewarding, like,
Squeaky wheels, yeah.
I don't know. Just It's going to be fine.
Speaking of squeaky wheels, I wonder about Greg Norman's future and all this.
He's out. Isn't
He's
he?
been quiet. Tiger's been quiet. There's a few people that have been quiet. about
Tiger's
this.
been very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he, surgery too, though. Maybe
Probably.
it's not much. For him to say. What can he say?
Yeah, he
You're
turned
better
over.
off
He
not
turned
saying
over
much.
the mic. He
I
turned that mic
agree.
over.
Until you know anything, like everybody else, we're just guessing on what is and what will be. You know, back to the last week or the 2 weeks ago, the player meeting, and just what you mentioned up front, having to see picturing Jay up there just getting like insults and criticism hurled at him by a large majority of the room, just it feels very unprofessional and very unbusinesslike. This is a business conversation. This is not a town hall meeting where you should just.
There was a guy
you know.
that was in there on TikTok with his phone like this. Like, oh, here's the man of the hour, just doing
Yeah.
it for. I mean, get out of here, dude.
Nah, you're a
Yeah.
fucking
You're a
loser.
clown. Get out of here.
And for Jay Monahan not to like, I could never do it because you know how I am. But imagine these people who have got no fucking clue, nothing about balance sheets. Wouldn't even know what a balance sheet looked like. They got no clue. Up there going, I would tear if I was. I wish Jay could. You could see what he's thinking, and it'd be projected. Like, sit down, you little flea. You got no clue what I've been dealing with for the last year. You little fucking piece of shit.
I mean, how is that kosher to have a phone in there that you're turning on filming for TikTok? That's
That's
kicked
just the
out-
world.
kicked out of
That's
the
the world
locker
we
room.
live in now, man. And people actually think that those kind of guys are cool too. I want to talk about LIV Golf last week in Australia.
yeah.
What did you guys think of that? Pricey.
That's
what they were going for.
That's what they're going for, and I think that to jump the lead, but everyone's always comparing this. Don't compare them. That's what they're trying to do. It's trying to be more of an entertainment thing, more of a fun with the DJ, and Fisher was there, and I think for what they're trying to do, it worked.
I think it showcased the want for high level golf in Australia. I mean, they showed out.
They've been starved, so
they're so starved.
if you had 7 events, hypothetically, because they're not going to do that, would that turn up every week? Probably not, but I do think that format suits Australia better, where there's not that serious. You don't have to be
it's a
silent.
bunch of hooligans over
There's
there.
it's like the Formula One,
Criminals,
It's like a horse-
not hooligans.
like the horse races are on every Saturday in Australia. That's
Yeah.
more like that. Like, you don't have to be quiet watching the horses go by. There's music going on. There's DJs. So I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
Did you watch it?
I watched the first 4 or 5 holes and then fell asleep every night. I did see Chase Koepka's hole in one.
I mean,
did? You were
social
watching?
media
Yeah.
is where you go to watch LIV right now.
Chase Koepka.
No, it's on the LIV Golf Plus app. Yeah,
Right,
actually, they had a
but
stream for the Australians.
The way I consume all
They
the
do
highlights,
like a different.
Yeah, they had a stream. Luke Elvey and
Wade.
did it, and it was just the 4 Aussies. So for me, that was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's just that's a way to watch it, right? But the way that I think most people are consuming LIV right now is through their phones
Sure.
on social media. Just watching all the highlights. You saw Koepka have that hole in one. That was electric. Shades of waste management. People throwing all their beers out on the course. I mean, it's in a different region. It's in a place that you've never seen that course on TV. If you're in the
Good
United
golf.
States.
Like the
And
Grange, Adelaide has courses like Melbourne, very similar, sandbelted-ish, clay-based. They got Royal Adelaide, world class. They got the 2 courses at the Grange. They got Kooyonga. Have you ever played there? We played the Corn Ferry there. They've got Glenelg. It's got 5 or 6 class courses. It's a good town to host that event.
I'd like to see more golf in Australia.
Yeah, it's just a long way away, and the tour sort of went away. The World Match Play was there a couple of times, and we get the President's Cup every now and then, and it's just not to defend anyone, but it's hard for Jay Monahan to go, hey, we're going to put an event on Australia. Like they did the CIMB in Malaysia and China, and those fields seem to be, I would say, getting weaker and weaker. So how do you entice these players? I do think that there is an element of fun that needs to be involved. Go back to Zurich, where the FedEx points are smaller, the purse is not amazing, but got like for 4 of the top 10, I think 10 of the top 20 turned out the last 2 years. There is an element of fun, which I think the tour should explore, and that why some of the reason, it's money as well, but some of the reason guys go to LIV because it's fun.
When's the best time to play golf in Australia, like climate-wise?
And now's good.
Right now. I just mean like looking at the
September to April.
Schedule. Okay.
You go back to the LIV thing though, with in episodes past we've talked about the team element. Like,
Yep.
just to be fair, this week, my takeaway from the LIV, the only takeaway I have from this week is it just looked like a big party, and Chase Koepka made a hole-in-one. I don't know who fucking won that event. I know Taylor shot 262s. I know he won. I'm talking about as far as the team. Like, I have no clue about any team drama. I mean, is it going to be like a week-to-week thing with them out there? Like, this week, this is what we're going for this week. This week, we're going to sell the drama of the team thing. Like, Singapore this week is not – you're not going to repeat Australia.
No, but I think so the Australian team clearly followed the Rippers, right? So there's this. I guess if it goes the way it's supposed to, they'll have their own stream, so everyone in Australia can watch those 4 guys all 18 holes.
That's a great idea.
Boom, 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 and then they're going to try and regionalize it, which they sort of have with the South American team, the South African team, and then you'll have all parts of the world, a few American teams. Maybe they don't. Maybe there's 2 Australians, 2 Americans. I don't know, but you'll have this team.
But Matt, I hear what you're saying. Like, what is the narrative that they're crafting? I mean,
Right.
if they want, they can
Team
create inner team drama.
But the team golf, it wasn't sold at all to me. The sell was,
who hates
we're
who?
having a great time here.
Well, the hard thing to do with last week is not defending at all, but it came on at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Right, so it's hard, like it's in a different time zone, and clearly, like I think CIMB is CIMB, and when you're playing in regions around the world, it's hard to get live viewership here because it's
it definitely
1 a.m. But there's more market. Like there's 350 million people in America. There's 8 billion in the world, and I think LIV is trying to capture some of that.
Yeah, and they will.
Non-American, so.
They already have.
It's a different product, but I see the head of the tour and the head of LIV trying to duel it out for like power. It's literally like politicians.
Yeah.
It's not needed. Just stand by your product. Go
I don't want to. I never thought LIV was dead in the water or anything, but they definitely have a heartbeat after last week. I think there's
They have a heartbeat.
some momentum going forward.
Momentum,
it feels
yeah,
like for
yeah.
sure.
There's a long way to go. I think they've got to build. People have got to really buy into these teams.
Have you seen the press conferences Bryson and Bubba did yesterday in Singapore?
I saw a little bit, and I actually agree to some point. I'm on the fence again, but Taylor Gooch can't get 0 points. You can't get 0 points. You can get some points.
I just those two, they could have picked 2 better guys to go up there and take those questions.
Agree.
Those 2 guys sitting up there, making their point. It's just tough to even listen to.
They need to, which is tough because they probably don't want
to
to
put Harold up there, put Joaquin
Harold's
up
perfect.
there, there's so many guys you could put up, and put Matt Wolff up there.
Yep, I agree.
Let those guys go at it, but these guys, it's like, oh man, like I don't know about you.
You'd have the guys that are starting from 100. Clearly, like some of those guys in LIV aren't starting from 100. They've done things, and people, not everyone's on board. Like, I feel like everyone loves Joaquin Niemann.
Yeah.
Put him up there. Everyone loves Harold. Put him up there. I agree. But I do think the majors, so if I am US Open, PGA, whatever, like the Masters is different because 8 of them were past champions, I think. So there was a big representation. But I'm guessing the PGA, I think there was 16 at the Masters. There's probably only going to be like 10 at the PGA, and then less and less and less. If the majors, say Taylor Gooch or say Joaquin Niemann wins 3 LIV events in a row, and then the next week is the Open or the PGA, and he's not in it,
Right.
that's your product is a little slightly, not much. There's still a great field. But wouldn't you want Joaquin Niemann in your field? I would.
Of course.
So that's why the majors, I think, should be going to the World Golf Rankings and go, guys, look, we don't need to give them equal points as if they're on the tour. Look, they're playing less rounds. Let's give them 75% to start. And then we don't need to pay, I think the tour, say 50 guys, I think roughly get world ranking points out of the 150, right? It's a third. So a third of 48,
Yeah.
you're at
16.
16. So maybe give 12. The top 12 guys, the top 10 guys. I don't give a shit. 8 guys. So maybe the top 8 get points, and they're only 75%, and the strength of field, which would be less anyway. But you should get at least like 8 points or 10 points for winning a LIV event. You can't get nothing.
Yeah,
You've
I agree.
played well, and some of these guys, yes, they're past their prime, but they're still great golfers.
Yeah.
So you can't give them 0. That's.
They're not getting.
If I could have a
they're
tagline
getting-
on my opinion, is you can't give the guy who wins a LIV event 0 points.
I think getting the World Golf Rankings involved
You got 4 million.
is going to open that door back to a relationship with the
points.
PGA. I think I think it's going to open that door. I mean, Zach Johnson kind of kicked open the door talking about the Ryder Cup. I think Europe is been decimated.
Luke Donald said his brother caddies for Brennan Steele on the LIV, and he said his brother's going to be a part of the Ryder Cup.
So a couple of days ago, Golf Digest came out with some clarification. So Matt Every is a member of the PGA of America by way that he has a PGA Tour card. When I was on tour. If you make 150 cuts combined, you're a tour member on the Corn Ferry forever. I only made 145. Bring out the tissues. So, but anyway, so when I lost my tour status, I lost my PGA of America status. Those guys, Cam Smith, Dustin, all those guys lost their tour. They're no longer members of the tour, but they do have an extra year. I think the PGA of America, not knowing which way to go, gave them an extra year. So they are actually members, as the way I read it, of the PGA of America.
Which runs the Ryder Cup.
Which runs the Ryder Cup, which has got nothing to do with the PGA Tour. So, look, they're not going to be qualified on their points, but those LIV guys will be able to be picked as a captain's pick if they want.
It makes the
Dustin
conspiracy
Johnson,
theorists in me. I mean, that would be the best Ryder Cup just build up, I think, that you could ever ask for.
Now, look, there's probably not many, but
but
Dustin Johnson could be a pick, I think, if Zach Johnson wanted to choose him, and Luke Donald wants to choose, some of the European players, but I don't know if
a captain's
those
pick
Euros
that's
playing well in the LIV. I don't know.
I don't know. It's been kind of like Uline is leading the list out there right now, right?
Yeah, but I don't think any of those Euro guys who would be, trying to get a pick for the Ryder Cup. I don't think like Stenson or McDowell. I don't think they would even be considered.
But still, they'd be a part of the team as a vice captain.
Fair enough. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, and Henrik Stenson missed out on being the captain. I mean,
well, I will say it'd be tough to have the actual captain
come back
with what's going on. No, he could come back in a smaller role,
yeah.
But I don't know. But it sounds like there's an avenue for them to be picked if so wish.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just, I think it's building up a lot of drama that if it comes to fruition, it's going to be pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, Italy, so that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So the PGA of America kind of holds some cards here in all this. I mean, if they do take a couple of LIV guys in, it could be, in the public, they're going to like it. I mean, people are going to watch.
Could they extend invites into the PGA?
What's that?
The PGA of America.
What do you mean?
I mean, they let in a lot of club pros.
Like special invites?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
They only give like one every now and then. It's like VJ,
like Ernie Els or
someone
something. Yeah, they're not giving
past
it to
champions. I mean,
something. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think if they do let him in, I don't think they will, by the way. Mm-hmm. But I think if they did, it would maybe snowball into some, coming together.
The majors should remain independent. I understand they feel like they have a voice in world golf, but it's only my dumb opinion. But they need to try and make their fields as strong as possible. And if some of those strong players are on the LIV, they should be playing. Let the tour do their thing, let LIV do their thing, but the majors should bring us all together. And it's exactly what happened at Augusta, and I thought it was great for the game.